Bloody hellfire, I tell you what, my arse were twitching. Hey up! Hey, welcome back out and about on the Royal Enfield Classic 650 once again. And got this here new gold top magnetic tank bag. Aye. It's not a paid promotion or anything like that. Paid for this myself. Would you believe? 130 quid. 130 quid. Now I know gold top gear is absolute top quality, and it is top quality, and big enough to carry everything that I need to carry. So you'd expect 130 quid for it to be perfect. Hey, it's not perfect, and I'll tell you for why. I saw on a certain other YouTube channel the other day, and I think they actually are doing a promotion on this, so I've probably been sent it free. Can't be certain, so I won't mention the channel. But they had it on a classic 650, just like this, and were saying they'd ridden some distance and it had absolutely stayed put, rock solid, 70 mile an hour and more, never moved an inch. Hey, let me tell you, they do move about. You hit an uneven road surface and it moves, and it moves a fair bit. I'm not just talking about a couple of millimetres. It will slide about. It slides about on here, which means to keep having to realign it, and I'm just wondering what the long-term effects on the this beautiful paint finish on the tank might be as a consequence. So I'll keep you posted on that. It does come with a shoulder strap, so you can sling it over your shoulder. But of course the whole idea of a tank bag is it sits on your tank and it's readily accessible, and to that extent, yeah, absolutely bob on this, and it is absolute top quality. This is the leather and canvas one. But it moves about, so I'll keep you posted. Aye. Typically, you know, that video I did in the garage when I was talking about my 4 bikes, not collectively being enough to buy a brand new Triumph Bonneville. And a lot of people disputed that. Well, look, depends which Bonneville you look at. If you look at the new Speed Twin, it's definitely considerably more than my 4 bikes are worth. So anyway, we'll not labour the point there. I was making a more generalised point about having 1 bike or having 4 for the same amount of brass, basically. And some people would rather have 1 bike with a certain badge on it, and some people would rather have 4. Most of you would rather have 4 or 3 or 2 rather than just 1 of a particular brand. But there you go, each unto their own. Definitely not slagging Triumph off, not at all. They are top quality, fantastic bikes. I've had 2 of them myself, and I just think they're a bit too expensive in the current marketplace from new. Right, aye, look at this here view. Oh, stunning. So, just a bit of an extra video of this. First of all, can I apologise about the garish colours on the Aprilia Touareg review. I've swapped the cameras around again. I had that there Ace Pro 2 on the helmet, and I just cannot get that camera, yet anyway, to produce pictures anything like as good as the GoPro Hero 13. The colours to my mind were just, and I had to tone them down in colour grading, but the saturation was just ridiculous, unnatural. Anyway, so sorry about that, that shouldn't happen again. Got Stump Cross Caverns coming up here. Now, a lot of you enjoyed that little video I did about memories of being in the cops. It's funny what you remember. But I got to remembering the other day that for a certain period of time, when I were a newly promoted sergeant at a certain Bradford police station, I'd been a PC on traffic. I were a traffic cop, and then I passed all my exams and my assessments and everything in 1995, and I got promoted sergeant in the long summer of 1995, if you remember that. It was like this, only twice as hot. Hey! But we just went through a period of the inspectors who are the bosses. Inspectors are in charge of whatever particular shift is working at the time, the 210 shift, the early shift, the night shift, whatever. And there'd be like an inspector, 4 sergeants and say 20-25 PCs. That would sketch. And hey, we just went through a period at this here particular nick where all the shift inspectors were mad. They were they were absolutely bonkers, in a very, very nice, amiable way, and all in their own way very professional. So, you know, I'm not impugning their character in any way, shape or form. They were all great blokes. But we had one who, it never seemed to make a great deal of sense whatever he was saying. He seemed to be on another planet. He spoke as if his words were encrypted. And we had encrypted radios, but I've never come across an encrypted inspector before. But he were encrypted. He just used to come out with some stuff, say stuff, and you think, what the fucking hell are you on about? What's that got to do with anything? Hilarious. So we nicknamed him the Riddler. You know, a Batman, the Riddler. Riddle me this, riddle me that. Hey, hilarious. Look at that, beautiful. Oh, it was funny. But a good bloke. I mean, they're all, to my mind, a lot of the senior cops now, the plastic. But these were like real, dimensional, slightly unhinged people. But talk about in the right place at the right time, cometh the hour, cometh the man, and all of that. And yeah, so we had this fella, the Riddler. Then we had another one that came, who were an absolute old-fashioned authoritarian inspector. And back then on my team, we had a couple of other sergeants who liked to wear flat caps, but they weren't traffic. They were normal patrol sergeants, so strictly speaking should only wear the old tall helmet, because they hadn't got round to changing the policy back then. And of course, flat hats are only for traffic task force and inspectors and above, and that's about it basically. So of course this disciplinarian came along, this inspector, and made it his absolute sworn mission to seize these 2 flat caps off these 2 sergeants. Because he'd say, flat caps are for inspectors and above only, and traffic and task force, not for patrol. And any road up it, yeah, they lasted about a week with these flat caps, these 2 sergeants, because he just walked up to them, swiped them off their heads, and impounded them. Oh, they were absolutely apoplectic. Oh, hilarious. We nicknamed him Melchett after General Melchett in Blackadder, because he was just an old school bloody senior cop, total disciplinarian. Oh dear, what a character. And then we had another one, a lovely fella, absolutely fearless fella, lovely fella, looked after me. This particular inspector really did look after me, but he was a real character. It always reminded me of like some old colonial brigadier. Spoke very well, and if you didn't know better, you might think that in stature and in the manner that he spoke that he'd be a bit of a shrinking violet and not much of a street warrior. Oh no, absolutely fearless, this fella. And I remember one, I think it was a Saturday late turn, and all cops were tied up in Bradford, and it was that baking hot summer of 1995, and you get a lot of disorder when the weather's that good. And all the cops in the division were tied up on jobs, and there were only me and this here inspector holding the fort like. So he says to me, come on, we'll go have a walk round Girlington, a bit of a dive in Bradford, bit of an organised criminal group territory, if you like. And they said, come on, we'll go for a walk round here. So off we goes, walking round Girlington, and it comes up on radio, any unit report of a disturbance at the Roundthorn pub in Bradford, if anybody knows the Roundthorn, Girlington. I'm not sure whether it's still there, but anyway, notorious pub this. And yeah, report of a disturbance, and believe that so-and-so, I won't repeat the name, but it was this this bad lad was sort of Bradford's equivalent of Jack the Hat McVitie, you know, dangerous fella. Anybody to attend, and bloody hell, this inspector says, just pipes up and says, yes, we'll go, no problem, I'm out with the sergeant, we'll go. I thought, you're kidding? You're kidding? We'll get minced. We'll get absolutely minced. And I remember saying, don't you think it might be an idea to wait for a bit of backup, sir? You know, it's could get a bit naughty, this. You know what sort of reputation this fella has, and if there's, you know, 20, 30, 40 of these buggers kicking off, we might not survive the night. Just wait for backup. Oh no, we're having none of it. Bloody hellfire, I tell you what, my arse were twitching. I'm no stranger to policing disorder, no stranger at all. Cut my teeth in Bradford city centre. But this had potential because there were no backup. There were nobody for bloody miles around that could have come and helped us out. Anyway, cut a long story short, we got there just as it looked like they'd all left, so it didn't become an issue. But bloody hell, that'd have been a close run thing. But we'd have fought the good fight, we'd have gone down, would have been slaughtered, but we'd have fought the good fight. Oh dear, oh dear. But the fourth inspector, because there were 4 shifts and there were 4 of these unique characters, the fourth fella, another smashing bloke, a proper boss, led by example, fearless, would never instruct his troops to do anything that he wouldn't do himself, and frequently he did do it himself. Smashing bloke. Ex-Special Forces, this fellow was. Ex-Special Forces. And at this particular nick where we worked, right opposite the nick, were a nightclub. And this particular nightclub, always a bit problematic, always fighting, carrying on, and one thing and another. But right opposite the nick, which was a bit of an inconvenience really. But we used to sort of stand at chucking out time at 2 o'clock in the morning. We used to sort of patrol right outside this place to stop it kicking off in the first place. And I just remember an occasion where, fortunately, this particular inspector were on, this fantastic bloke, ex-military Special Forces, SAS or SBS, one of the two, and stood there outside this nightclub with all bloody pissed up gobshites coming out, carrying on, giving us a load of verbal slaver, but you know, no requiring an intervention at that point. Let's put it that way. But I mean, we all had our limits. We all had a threshold beyond which the verbal onslaughts had to result in a collar being felt. Folk were allowed, you know, thus far and no further. And anyway, and they always used to test that threshold. These idiots. But I remember this particular night, they were all coming out shouting, bawling, carrying on, pissed up, men and women. And I was just conscious in my peripheral vision. I was just conscious of these two muppets, these two pissed up lads, starting to get a bit gobby with this here inspector. So I thought, aye, we'll be laying hands on in a minute. We'll have a couple of arrests here, and all we've got to do is drag them to the nick, you know, cross road. Hey, easy pickings, straight up D&D or a public order offence or whatever. So just give them. I thought we'll just give them a little bit of time to seal the fate, really. Anyway, before I knows what's happened, I turns round to look, and these two drunks are spark out on the floor. They've just been silently dispatched by this here inspector. It was just like it was seamless. I never heard anything, I hardly saw anything, and if I hadn't turned round and looked, I wouldn't have realised what had happened. But it was just this complete incapacitation of these two idiots in complete and utter silence. Bloody hell. Oh, them were days. What a carry on. Aye, but they were all proper bosses in a way that much later those characters at a senior level, they just got filtered out, which is a shame, because they didn't half get the job done, and they didn't half get their troops to get the job done, if you see what I mean. They were well-grounded, highly experienced, a lot of them ex-military, senior cops, and being at inspector level, still on the front line, commanding the troops. There were some happy times there. We were constantly under siege at that nick. When it kicked off, the bloody entire nick became under siege from the locals, and we couldn't get out to go home. We were bloody hemmed in until the rest of the force could provide some support to extractors. Oh, carry on. Prisoner in your own nick. Oh dear, Lord of mercy. Right, anyway, just another little tale. It's just a little extra video. I thought I'd come out. Nobody else playing out today, it appears, so it looks like we're always going to be on my own. Not to worry. Gives me a chance to spend a bit more time bonding with Big Norman here, who's performing seamlessly. Cracking bike. Loving it. Right, so the next review, if all goes to plan, I'm not sure if I'm looking forward to this, is going to be an Aprillia Tuono. I think that's how you pronounce it. Bloody 180 brake horsepower job. Oh my lord. Super naked. That'd be interesting, won't it, with a silly old bugger like me on it. But I'll give it my best shot. Aprillia Tuono. But something a bit like that thing there. Bit of a naughty bike. Aye, so that should be the next bike review that you should see, and then I've got another Aprilia to do. I'm at a 400cc job here, thereabouts. So we'll see. Looking forward to it, nonetheless. Alright, so yeah, just a mindless bloody ramble. Another old coppering tale for your amusement. If you do like what you see on this channel, please, if you're not already subscribed, please would you consider subscribing to the channel and thereby helping me enormously. And on the same sort of general theme, I'm a member of MAG, the Motorcycle Action Group. Now, as individuals, as individual motorcyclists, if you like, we're probably all guilty of belly aching about those things that piss us off as bikers, and the general injustices about where we can and can't ride and all of that. But how often do we actually do anything about it? So I joined MAG, the Motorcycle Action Group. I recently wrote an article for them, and they've got a couple of things on the go at the moment, which are sort of campaign issues. One's about the general use of bus lanes, which I've covered a couple of times on this channel, by motorcycles. Use of bus lanes by motorcycles universally. A campaign to make that happen across the country. And there's another sort of lobbying ride out day. But anyway, without going into too much detail, the links from henceforward, the links to those two things. So one is a petition to sign for universal access to bus lanes, and one is a link to an event. And both are part of MAG's ongoing campaigns in our interests. So you can support MAG by joining them. You get a bi-monthly magazine, which is very good, and you get certain member benefits. And yeah, I would certainly encourage you to do so. And then you're doing your bit, aren't you? You know, all of these things that piss us off, at least we can say we're engaged in a more broad approach to addressing these issues with the powers that be. So yeah, if you can, join MAG. Follow the links in the description to the bus lane campaign, and the other event. Right, that's it for today. Please don't forget to subscribe. Alright, until the next time, and in the meantime, ride safe, be kind, and I'll see you.